Can't climb trees anymore. Now, this is the very last story in this book. A love of long ago. Last week, as the taxi took me to Delhi, I passed through the small town in the foothills where I had lived as a young man. Well, it's the only road to Delhi, and one must go that way. But I seldom travel beyond the foothills. As the years go by, my visits to the city, any city, are few and far between. But whenever I am on the road, I look out of the window of my bus or taxi to catch a glimpse of the first floor balcony where a row of potted plants lend color to an old and decrepit building. Ferns, a palm, a few bright marigolds, zinnias, and nasturtiums. They made that balcony stand out from others. It was impossible to miss it. But last week, when I looked out of the taxi window, the balcony garden had gone. A few broken pots remained, but the ferns had crumpled into dust. The palm had turned brown and yellow, and the flowers, nothing of the flowers remained. All these years, I had taken that balcony garden for granted, and now it had gone. It shook me. I looked back at the building for signs of life, but saw none. The taxi sped on. On my way back, I decided I would look again. But it was as though a part of my life had come to an abrupt end. The link between youth and middle age, the bridge that spanned the gap, had suddenly been swept away. The gap between youth and middle age had been swept away. And what had happened to Kamala? I wondered. Kamala, who had tended those plants all these years, knowing I would be looking out for them even though I might not see her, even though she might never see me. Chance gives and takes away and gives again. But I would have to look elsewhere now for the memories of my love, my young love, the girl who came into my life for a few blissful weeks and then went out of it for the remainder of our lives. Was it almost 30 years ago that it all happened? How old was I then? 22 at the most. And Kamala could not have been more than 17. She had a laughing face, mischievous, always ready to break into smiles or peals of laughter, sparkling brown eyes. How can I ever forget those eyes, peeping at me from behind the window curtain, following me as I climbed the steps to my room, the room that was separated from her quarters by a narrow wooden landing that creaked loudly if I tried to move quietly across it. The trick was to dash across, as she did so neatly on her butterfly feet. She was always on the move, flitting about on the veranda, running errands of no consequence, dancing on the steps, singing on the rooftops as she hung out the family washing. Only once was she still. That was when we met on the steps in the dark, and I stole a kiss, a sweet phantom kiss. She was very still then, very close, a butterfly drawing out nectar, and then she broke away from me and ran away laughing. Was it your work? She asked me one day. What is your work? She asked me one day. I write stories, I said. Will you write one about me? She asked. Someday. I was living in a room above Moti Bibi's grocery shop. Moti Bibi's grocery shop near the cinema. At night I could hear the soundtrack from the film. The songs did not help me much with my writing, nor with my affair for Kamala, nor with my affair, for Kamala could not come out at night. We met in the afternoons when the whole town took a siesta and expected us to do the same. Kamala had a young brother who worked for Moti Bibi, a widow who was also my landlady, and it was through the boy that I had first met Kamala. Moti Bibi always sent me a glass of kanji or sugarcane juice or lime juice, depending on the season, around noon. Usually the boy brought me the drink, but one day I looked up from my typewriter to see what at first I thought was an apparition hovering over me. She seemed to shimmer before me in the hot sunlight that came slashing through the open door. I looked up into the face, and our eyes met over the rim of the glass. I forgot to take it from her. What I liked about her was her smile. It dropped over her face, slowly, like sunshine moving over brown hills. She seemed to give out some of the glow that was in her face. I felt it pour over me, and this golden feeling did not pass when she left the room. That was how I knew she was going to mean something special to me.